red is on? Red is off. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order 6:33. If I could have everyone stand for the pledge. Megan, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Megan. Can I get a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
Madam President,
Gina,
I move that tonight's agenda be adopted and as printed and placed on file.
is there support? Support. Thanks, Amy. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda, is there any board member who would like a consent agenda item to be removed and acted on separately? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Madam President,
Amy?
I move that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Is there support?
Support.
Thanks, Dee. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. We have reached the public commentary for agenda items only. If you would like to make a public comment during this time, I would ask that you approach the podium. On the podium, there is a sheet of paper for your name, address. I ask that you sign in, and then before you address the board and the community, please state your name and your address. I will remind public commentary members that we will shorten the commentary to 3 minutes if we see that we have a significant number of public commentary. And I will ask that board members, administration, and community members are not called to task. I will give you a pause, and then if you continue, I will ask you to step down. Okay. Any public commentary at this time? Agenda items only. Just when I say let's go, somebody jumps up. So, okay. Seeing none, we will move on to the Board of Board Correspondence. Carl, are you presenting, or are you talking through the number we got?
I believe we had 21 messages sent to the board in either electronic or written form, and it ranged between COVID protocols, masking, and also some homeowners that live near the district that asked about maintenance on the fence line.
Okay, thank you. Our Board Secretary Griffin is excused today. Move on to the Board of Education reports. Township government, Todd is excused tonight. Carl, is there anything you want to report?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Township Park Board, Griffin is excused tonight. Anything anyone has to report on Park Board?
Just that we had a successful fireworks after last week's home for football game, and I think that we're glad that we were able to get it in this year.
Thank you, Carl. Legislative Relations Network, Amy?
Nothing to report today. I imagine things will pick back up once the year gets started again.
Thank you, Amy. Michigan Association of School Boards, Megan?
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Megan. Policy Committee? Carl, do we have an update on fall?
We do not. There is an update coming in, and we'll be scheduling a meeting as soon as we get the digital format.
Okay, thank you. Anything, and again, I'll remind the community members that the strategic goal committees are in flux at this point because we have moved on to preparing our continuous improvement process plan for moving forward. We had the strategic plan that expired this past year, so we're moving, actually this year, we're moving forward on a new 5-year plan. But we'll kind of limp along until we get that plan completed. So Student Achievement Committee, is there anything to report, Gina or Megan?
I missed the last meeting that was, I think, in June, but I was just gonna ask you, Mark, when is the next one scheduled?
I think we're considering it part of the new continuous improvement process.
Perfect,
So we'll have
okay.
the overviews and we'll have the meetings coming up.
Perfect.
Is there anything from the meeting from the June meeting that you would like to report, Dr. French?
We just continued to review the goals we had been working on during the last 5-year cycle, including the guaranteed and viable curriculum and other goals related to that, and that many of those things are ongoing work, so they might be incorporated into the new strategic planning process.
Okay, thank you. Megan, anything for human sexuality?
No, that committee really only meets either once a year or once every 2 years, so.
And I know we recently had a report, or maybe that was last spring, I can't remember.
Yeah, it
Was
was
it
in the
spring?
spring, yeah.
Okay. Technology committee, anything, Amy? I know we're not back to school yet, but.
Well, I do have some updates,
Okay.
but chief among them, I suppose, is that the technology committee last year, it was sort of decided that it had run its 20-year purpose. So that's sort of been disbanded and will be reconfigured as we go forward. So I did talk to Dr. French before we started here, and it's our recommendation that we just take that off as a standing committee report going forward. But I do have some updates that Mrs. Earl was kind enough to present me with. So there's been a lot going on. The laptops that we bought last spring with COVID money have been deployed, and so there's not a teacher in the district using a laptop older than 3 years right now. Teachers were also given a 24-inch monitor and new document camera for their workstations, and all 4,600 Chromebooks are ready to go into the hands of students or used as loaners. They did experience some setbacks that were sort of related to construction work, but they are working diligently to, and that's, if you're a tech person, I'm sure I oversimplified that when I said, that there were some challenges related to construction, but they're working very hard to get every classroom ready for the start on Tuesday. And then I think it's already been communicated, so you can just stop me if it has, that there may be some delay at the elementary level with rolling out Chromebooks, because with the Infinite Campus rollout, you can say it much better than I can, Carl.
As I mentioned during the last meeting, our transition as a county, as part of the Lenawee Monroe Consortium for Technology, is converting to Infinite Campus from our former student information system, eSchool. So I know that we have been putting information out on social media and the website regarding that transition. There have been, whenever you use a number of platforms such as we do as a district, there has been some bugs, we'll call it, that they are slowly working through at the Infinite Campus side. So we will deploy the elementary Chromebooks as soon as those are worked out, and we have all the schedules loaded into Infinite Campus as well as Schoology.
Thank you, Amy and Carl. And Carl, just from a matter of discussion on the technology committee and moving forward, and whether we call it technology committee, but I'd like to have perhaps on the COW meeting a discussion around how we report out on those. The technology committee originally was to support understanding and communication of how the dollars that were part of the technology millage were to be spent. So I would like to see some sort of report out on that. And maybe it's not technology, maybe it's just how we're spending those dollars.
Dr. French and our technology director, Jennifer Earl, have both, they've created a collaborative document that kind of explains and details how they would like to take the direction for that committee.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I will move straight to the safety committee. Gina?
Actually, I was just thinking that Carl should give an update on the cameras and where we're at with those.
Perfect.
Sure. The Board of Education approved the new camera system. It is currently, the contract for the purchase materials and labor side is with our attorney right now, and they are working through the logistics with Presidio, who is the awarded bid. And as soon as we get the contract straightened out and completed, signed off on, we will begin laying a new cable for the system, and they'll start working building by building across the district on installation.
Thank you. Carl and Gina?
Gina, may I also update you on professional learning that took place
Sure. Yeah.
for safety? So after a long delay, the district around 2015 made a commitment to ALICE training. ALICE is a national leader in school safety training, and I see if I can remember this from memory. ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate, and covers those areas with teachers. And after its long delay, of course, for many reasons, we had our on-site trainers with us this week for professional learning. Got nothing but great feedback from the teachers about their professionalism, expertise, even humor in bringing that training to them. So they were excited to get that, and it's a long-awaited update. Alice, a couple of years ago, started doing a virtual refresher, which is about an hour training, kind of like employees do for different kinds of trainings every year. So they always do that every year in the winter. They've done that the last couple of years. We had our on-site training today, so they were excited to do that, or yesterday, excuse me.
Okay, thank you, Dr. French. Sorry, I did skip over the facilities committee. Again, the bond work continues, the upgrades to the facilities. More to come on that later. Communication committee, Amy, is there anything to report?
There isn't, but Howard, a question, when are we meeting next for that?
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the communication committees falls under the lines of the revamping part of the strategic plan update. So finding out what our role is going to be and what our duties are going to be is the next step, and then we'll set some dates. But I would imagine the first date hopefully will be sometime in October or November.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Certainly no lack of communication happening right now, so. The senior center, D, anything?
Nothing new. They're open for lunch and bingo and bunco, quilters. They aren't having any fundraisers though at this point in time, which is a little sad because that's really where they make their money. But they're open if you want to go to lunch. Just have to let them know at by 10:30, and it's really good. It's very good food. They cook it there. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Alumni Association, my thanks from the Alumni Association to the football parents on a very successful reserve seat sale for the football season. That, of course, goes back to the fund for the stadium restrooms. And so they took that initiative this year and moved it forward and had a very successful sale. It's something that is now in its fourth year that is very welcomed by the community and certainly the parents and people who want to have a reserve seat as a part of enjoying the football season. So thank you to them. The Alumni Association, we will be getting together with the Mule Muscle Group at some point here in the fall to evaluate the funds that are available for building restrooms at the football stadium. So more to come in the future on that information. Moving on to the Monroe County School Board. Griffin is excused. Is there anything anyone else has to report on the School Board Association?
Just that they are working on putting some professional development together for board members across the county. They are asking for themes, so I don't know if Griffin will have a list that comes out his way that he can select from, but I believe they're normally invite just the representative, but I think they're going to invite all board members to try to get a larger pool of participants.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to items from the superintendent. Carl, it looks like you have a couple of items for us this evening.
I do. Good evening, Madam President. The first item this evening on my agenda is the nomination of Dr. Khan as our delegate for the district at the upcoming November 11th assembly across the state which will be held at the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in Grand Rapids. I know we spoke about it at the Committee of the Whole meeting. Even when a member of the board does not attend the assembly, we still are obligated to nominate a delegate, and we typically, as a district, nominate the individual who represents the district on that committee. So, Dr. Khan, congratulations. It's usually a unanimous vote, and the assembly really is focusing on just items for the year, legislative support items across the state, and some other various housekeeping that they are obligated to do once a year. So. If we could, I would nominate Dr. Khan, and whether she can make it or not, we will send her name to the delegate assembly.
Thank you, Dr. Schultz. Can I get a movement for the consideration to nominate Megan Khan for the MASB 2021 Delegate Assembly?
Madam President,
Gina?
I move that the Board of Education nominate Megan Khan for the MASB 2021 Delegate Assembly as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Thank you, Dee. Any discussion? Any other volunteer? Seeing no discussion, this is a roll call vote. Todd is excused. Amy?
Yes?
Dee?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Griffin is excused, and the chair votes yes, and the motion carries. Thanks, Megan, and name. Okay, Carl, your next item.
Thank you. The next item I have is another item that we spoke about last week at the Committee of the Whole. We have a group of individuals led by Mr. John Decker Jr., who is an alum of the class of 2000, also owner of Decker Homes. He and some of his cohort would like to help the district by improving facilities at the baseball and the softball field at the high school. I shared with everyone the design I mentioned last week. I'm going to try to have it up on the screen as well. This would be for the player and coaches entrances for both fields, but it will aesthetically align with some of the changes at the building level. You can see the view that you're looking at now is of the back of the field. There's currently no pillars there. It's a fence line that ends, and the fence is quite, as you'll see in the next photo, is quite worn out. They'd like to put pillars to really spruce it up, new signage, black covered fence across the area that they're going to be updating, and this would be both for softball and baseball. So the baseball field, this, if you could picture the stadium right there to the right, this is the left of, just behind that, to the far right of the foul pole in left field for the baseball stadium. The new addition would be the fencing, the signage above, and the brick pillars. And then for the, sorry, too far. You can just kind of see the current state of the fence. It is bent down. It's kind of worn out looking. We'd like to address fencing around the field entirely, but this would be a great kickoff for the district's ability to do so. I know that he has been working with some of our local business owners on soliciting funds as well as support for labor. The total project is in the range of $33,000 for both fields, so this is quite a substantial undertaking. The next view would be just a close-up of the sign for Bedford baseball course. With the new branding guide, the lettering would match the district brand that was approved. The font would match and be similar across. The red for the sign would also be the Bedford red, showstopper red, I believe. This is a back view of the softball diamond. There's currently no fence that separates the small parking lot back there from the concession stands. So the proposal is to add a fence that goes across, kind of an opening for players and coaches to park back there as well as walk through. Again, would match the current aesthetics of the buildings that we have, as well as the new branding guide. Sorry. And then once again, Bedford softball would be the sign matching that of the high school. As they did for the mule muscle and the current new weight room, any plaques that would be added would be matching and approved by the district. But we'd like to definitely commemorate those that have helped. And that is the plan. Of course, we would make sure that we have proper oversight of the project and work with our facilities director. I highly recommend this. I think not only will it add aesthetically to the district, it will be something special for our players, our coaches, and as I mentioned, we just completed the new tennis courts, and they look beautiful. Our stadium is looking beautiful. We're getting new signage on the stadium for the top of the bleachers coming up soon. I think it's important that, as we talked about all along, we save money in our funds to update our buildings before they start falling apart. So this continues with that, and it's always nice when the community steps up and helps out. If approved, we'd invite the committee and Mr. Decker and associates to come in and present the final plan. But they did a nice job, I think, sketching it out.
Agreed. Okay, thanks, Dr. Schultz. Can I get a motion for the consideration to accept the baseball, softball facilities update donation?
Madam President,
Amy?
I move that the Board of Education accepts the baseball, softball facilities update donation as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Thank you, Megan. Any comments or discussion from the board?
Thank you to Mr. Decker.
Great. Much needed updates. This will just give some presence to both of these stadiums that are fantastic facilities, but just make it that much better. So appreciation to the donation. Okay, this is a roll call vote. Todd is excused. Amy?
Yes.
Dee?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Griffin is excused. The chair votes yes, and the motion carries. Thanks, Carl.
Yep.
And then your last one, your back to school report?
I do. Last week, we went over just an overview of what the letter that went home to our families and our staff members on information for back to school. This week, in the past, we were obligated by the state of Michigan to present a monthly update on COVID data. We have not received the localized data in the last week and a half, so we will be waiting for that. I do know that I had a meeting this morning with all superintendents in the county, as well as the county health director, Ms. Kim Kamerzan, and our county physician, and Dr. Carl Schmidt. And we spoke about case data. We talked about the strongest mitigation strategies. It is still believed that there are a layered approach for mitigation is the best approach, similar to what the CDC and the state of Michigan have recommended. Again, the CDC and state of Michigan do recommend masks, recommend that we include masks in our plan. Equally as important, as Dr. Schmidt said this morning, is that updated ventilation is equally as important. I did relay to Dr. Schmidt that our buildings, our classrooms all have new ventilation systems in place in the last 2 years. They are just one grade below hospital ventilation, so I would imagine they are the best in the state in terms of airflow. Our windows are operable. We can open them, and we can have fans blowing and circulating air throughout. So I went over where our plans were, and every other district did as well. Since we didn't have localized data, we were told that we would be getting updates on the county health site coming up in the very near future. I was hoping it would come before the meeting today, but that would give us local zip code data as well, similar to how we had it last year. So Sandy and I work together and continuously update the data dashboard, not only for case data on the website, but also the data dashboard that we presented once a month during the last school year. The only data that I could pull, or the data that I pulled for this meeting, was just a couple different views of the 7-day average for the case data both in the state of Michigan and in Monroe County. So in terms of the state of Michigan and the 7-day average, the 7-day average for the state's new COVID case data, or COVID cases reported, were 2,229 cases per day. As you can see on the graph, over the last week, there's been some ups and downs. It's been as low as 1,600 for 2 days straight, and then it's been as high as 2,600 for 1 day. So this is the total cases per average per day for a 7-day period. The second way of looking at it is a graph with just the 1 week period, ending with 8/31. And you can see that this is the same information, as well as it shows the cases per 100,000, which the CDC uses. The 7-day average for cases per 100,000 in the state of Michigan is 155. The county data, similar approach. The 7-day average for new cases within Monroe County is 232. And the 7-day county average per 100,000, which the CDC uses as a benchmark, is 154. So it's just below the state average. One of the reasons that I selected these data points is to, even though it's really a 7-day average, you can see from the start of the graph, which goes back significantly further, it is, and we've had quite a few peaks. We have some valleys as well. What I am pleased about at this moment is that we haven't had a straight vertical spike. It is going higher slowly, and then it tapers off a little bit, but we're not seeing that straight spike up in the air that some other areas have had, both in the state as well as across the nation and obviously the globe. But I'm hoping that the next time we meet, we will be able to continue to show the zip code data, which not only demonstrates Temperance and Lambertville making up Bedford Township, but also showing information from our nearby communities that we share busing with, and we also share consortium students with.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Schultz. We'll move on to the instructional items for presentation, and it looks like we have 2 items for you, Dr. French.
Thank you. Pleased to present these as we discussed at the Committee of the Whole last week. So the consideration to approve the purchase of the student Chromebook cases. I'm sure you noted as you read about it the significant discount for bulk purchase that was included there. And then item number 2, the purchase of the student Chromebooks. Again, just a kudos to Jennifer Earle, who's starting her 30th year in Bedford Public Schools. Glad to have her aboard, but she's always great about finding the best price for us on the products we're purchasing. So no difference here. So those are the presentations. And just briefly, Madam President, you had asked last time, very, very, very concise. The students do receive a new Chromebook in 4th and 9th grades. And the children in the younger grades receive the repurposed Chromebooks that come, have been used, but then are the ones that are still in good usable condition go to our youngest grades. But I'm going to share that graphic in the weekly update, and we'll talk about it further at the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Dr. French. Appreciate that. Okay, can I get a motion for the consideration to approve the purchase of student Chromebook cases for 2022 and 2023?
Madam President,
Megan?
I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of student Chromebook cases for 2022-23 as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
I think I heard Gina. Any discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Todd is excused. Amy?
Yes.
Dee?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Griffin is excused. The chair votes yes and the motion carries. Can I get a motion for the consideration to approve the purchase of student Chromebooks for the 2022-2023?
Madam President,
Amy?
I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of student Chromebooks for 2022-2023 as recommended.
Is there support? Thank you, Dee. Any discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Todd is excused. Amy?
Yes.
Steve? Yes. Megan?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Griffin is excused. The chair votes yes, and the motion carries. Thank you, Dr. French. Moving on to personnel items, and Howard.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everybody. I have a couple items. We have one retirement and two resignations. The retirement is Wallace LeBurn, physical science instructor at the senior high school, and that is a retirement. And the other two items fall under resignations, and that would be Crystal Regnier, sixth grade instructor at the junior high school, and Mr. Andrew Russell, social studies history instructor at the junior high school.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Can I get a motion for the consideration to
Madam President,
Gina?
I move that the Board of Education accept BEA retirement of Wallace LeBurn, physical science and chemistry instructor at the senior high school as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Thank you, Amy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. Can I get a motion for consideration to accept the BEA resignations?
Madam President,
Megan?
I move that the Board of Education accept resignations A and B as listed below as recommended. Crystal Rainier, sixth grade instructor at the junior high school. Andy Russello, social studies history instructor at the junior high school.
Thank you, Megan. Is there support?
Support.
I think I heard Gina. No, got shut off. Sorry about that. Any discussion around the BEA resignation? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to operational items. And Julie.
Thank you, Madam President. The item that I have for the board's consideration is the approval of the 2021 tax rate request. This is the L4029, the instrument that we use to notify our municipalities how much our tax assessment will be for the upcoming year. And my recommendation is to approve the tax rate for the 2021 tax year at 18 mils for our operational tax levy and 1.99 mils for our bond or debt retirement levy. And I further recommend that 100% of this assessment is levied with the winter tax roll.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Can I get a motion for the consideration to approve the tax rate request for 2021?
Madam President,
Amy?
I move that the Board of Education approve the tax rate request for 2021 as recommended.
Is there support? Support. Thanks, Dee. Any discussion? Julie, I don't know that I have recalled in the past hearing that it was levied in the winter tax bill. Is that usual?
We've always levied only winter taxes
Okay.
for as long as I have history back in the
Okay.
past.
Thank you. I don't know that I've heard that before. I appreciate the clarification. Any other comments? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Todd is excused. Amy?
Yes.
Dee?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Griffin is excused. The chair votes yes, and the motion carries. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
We've reached the second public commentary, where the community is invited to share any comments. I don't think anyone new has entered since I went over the first public commentary. Is there any public commentary at this time? Yeah, you could, so you approach the podium. There is a sign-in list that I'll ask you to sign in, and then state your name and address, and then you can proceed with your comments.
long names of her streets. I'm Judy Pascalis. I live on Samary Road. I have a student in Bedford Junior High. I listened to the meeting last week on YouTube, and I hear a lot of talk about freedom, and I'm from conservative central Kansas. So we learned a lot about freedom then, and we learned that with freedom comes responsibility. And not just to oneself, but to the entire community and the world, actually. Police officers, soldiers, they'd never volunteer to do what they were doing if they just thought about themselves or their family. They're thinking about everybody when they do that. They wouldn't do it if they were just thinking about themselves, in my opinion. The 4-H Club Pledge, which I know a lot of you know about, you pledge your head, heart, hands, and health to your club, your community, your country, and the world. I think that wearing a mask is a great opportunity to teach your kids civic responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have to leave because I'm picking up a phone.
No worries. Thank you for your comments. Any other public commentary?
Good evening, everyone. Ryan McKee, 9023 Oak Ridge Drive. Can you guys hear me okay through this?
You're good.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, good evening. I'd like to start off by taking a moment to clear the air. I'm sure this board probably thinks about what I've said over the last two meetings, that I have nothing but contempt for this board and this district, when in fact nothing could be further from the truth. I did vote in favor of the latest millage or bond proposal that has allowed this board to make significant upgrades and improvements across the district that were desperately needed in order to ensure a safe and quality learning environment. For this massive undertaking, I applaud the board's tireless efforts and dedication. With these decisions, I'm sure that many long and tiring hours were put in order to make this happen. That commitment is something selfless and admirable, so I say thank you. However, I can say that these same tireless efforts have been put in by countless parents across this district and others in this great state in relation to doing their own research in regards to COVID-19, networking with people from across this nation and around the world. The incredible amount of doctors and medical professionals who have spoken out against ineffective masking, faulty testing, and experimental vaccines cannot possibly all be wrong. At some point, coincidence and conspiracy stops being just that. For measures concerning these coronavirus mandates that may be implemented, I ask the board not to err on the side of caution, but instead err on the side of freedom. Once again, freedom of choice. I'd rather have dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. The cliche, "I was just following orders" excuse is not going to be the norm to which we the people become accustomed to hearing. It did not work for the Nazis at Nuremberg, and it's not going to work now. I'm here to hold this board to account. For the parents or anyone else here who are proponents of masking, testing, and the EUA experimental vaccine, which is still just that, not approved for everyone, I ask you the following. Before all of this COVID chaos started last year, did you rush to mask up during flu season? Did you make sure to get your flu vaccine? How about during the many other epidemics or pandemics we faced? SARS, swine flu, avian bird flu, and other coronaviruses actually. What precautionary measures did you take to ensure your health and that of your neighbor? Did you attempt to convince the uninformed and misguided to wear a mask and get a vaccine? I would guess not. I doubt you did much of anything different at all. You simply went about living your life, and yet here you are, alive and well. Condemning your neighbor for insisting on freedom of choice in what they feel is the best decision for them and their family is appalling. In closing, I'd like to point out that every member on this board, with the exception of the superintendent, holds an elected position of public office. You better believe that my family, my household, has taken notice of which board members support freedom and liberty when it comes to a parent's choice of what's best for their child. I'll admit that before last year, I wasn't as active as I should have been when it comes to with the actions that my local school board has made. Moving forward, however, other patriots and myself will commit ourselves to making our children's education, individual safety, and psychological health a top priority by filling these positions left vacant when certain more board members are up for re-election next year and in 2024. We, the parents, have had just about enough of medical tyranny. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm Sarah Centers, 1389 Rutledge Court in Temperance. Dr. Schultz and members of the board, good evening. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of myself and many parents I know personally who feel they are being backed into a corner. We're sick of feeling powerless against government bureaucrats from the federal level all the way down. We have a health department in this state threatening to take parents to court if they don't comply with their orders. I find myself asking over and over, what is happening? We have a voice and we have rights. How can we not speak against this? My son wants to go to school. He's excited to meet his teacher and to see all of his friends. The overall excitement around starting a new school year and everything that goes with that is so important. I hate to take that away from him, but with all of the mandates happening, I feel I may have no choice. I can tell you there are many parents in the area just like me willing to start in-person learning, but if and when masks are mandated or questionable curriculum implemented, even subtly, they will be pulling their children out and homeschooling, either privately or through co-ops. We love Jackman Road Elementary and so many of the teachers and administrators who have always been so kind and helpful. I'm so angry that parents are being forced into this decision, a decision that frankly many feel impossible to some. So we're just supposed to comply, right? Just go along slowly losing our freedom to govern our children's health and well-being, all to an institution whose sole purpose is to educate. We will not. We will unenroll our kids, which means funding will be lost. I know your jobs must be so difficult, especially in these times. And I know that mandates will be followed as if they are law, but we all know they are not law. I'm not alone in this. Parents everywhere are waking up, standing up, and saying enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Jeff Wente, 6815 Stonegate Drive in Temperance. Members of the board and other citizens that join us tonight. I stood up here a week ago and told you that I had just come from a Blake Shelton concert on Put-in-Bay. 15,000 people unmasked, what many would consider a super spreader event. Myself, my wife, 50 plus other people that we know that were there, apparently all dodged another bullet. Because we're all here, none of us have COVID on what was so-called a super spreader event. You know, and as I stand here tonight, and it started last night at back to school night with our kids, we had one of our students' teachers that at Jackman Road that had a mask on. Our other student's teacher opted not to. That's their choice. I respect them for their choice, just as I respect everybody in the room for your choices. However, as we stood there last night, the one teacher who did not have a mask on, we stood there and had a conversation, and I could understand everything she said. I did not have to try and piece together bits and pieces of the conversation. We go to the other classroom where the teacher had a mask on, and I found myself, who admittedly I spent a lifetime around heavy machinery, not wearing ear protection. I'm slightly hard of hearing, not terribly, but I do have a problem with background noise. I had a hard time piecing together the conversations that we were having face to face with a person wearing a mask. I come to this meeting tonight, and as I said, I respect everybody in your decision, but the members up here that are wearing masks, when you speak into the microphone, I have to find myself as an adult trying to piece together what is being said versus what is intended. The members that are not wearing a mask, it's clear, it's concise. As a student who does not have a developed brain that is still learning, it is hard to piece together that information, especially in a classroom setting when there's a lot of distractions. I believe this is a very big problem in the schools that has gone unrecognized, especially with our own children. They are not getting the education they deserve because they're not fully understanding what's going on. As my wife mentioned last week, facial expressions are key. They're not getting the facial expressions. They use those expressions to help piece together things that they don't understand. So we're having a major disconnect between what is said and what is intended because their brains are not developed enough to piece together the missing information. That is something you develop your entire life. And we are having just a terrible disconnect among our students. And I know my wife last week was trying to figure out what the M-STEP results were, which I don't think they're posted yet. But I mean, I'd be very interested to see what the results are and the dips and declines or where we're at from an education standpoint as a result of everything that's transpired in the last year. And, you know, I just believe that these masks are causing a significant education problem within our school district. And, you know, I appreciate everybody in your considerations. And, you know, I know we've had a tough couple of years here, and I appreciate everything that's been done for the ventilation systems. And I firmly believe that is going to be I don't know, a cure-all, but it's definitely going to be a significant factor, hopefully, in the decisions you guys make going forward, is what we've done to help better our situation. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sarah McKee, 9023 Oak Ridge Road. Good evening, board members. While masks are optional, how long before they become mandatory? How many cases does there have to be before it becomes mandatory? To me, masks are a complete joke. I mean, if you're vaccinated, what does me wearing a mask have to do with you or not? You know, if I choose not to, I don't know how that really affects you. If you're vaccinated, it's supposed to protect you. Does more harm. I mean, think about this. These children are breathing carbon dioxide. My child gets headaches really bad. She can't focus. Masks just don't belong on children. I will not stand by this. You have awoken lions. Parents who have never before are getting involved, which is great. We will not be quiet. We will get louder. The next thing I would like to address is critical race theory. And I know this is a conservative area, but one of the programs that Bedford uses is Brain Pop. And yes, it does teach critical race theory. I have seen it myself, and I'm disgusted. We should not be teaching this to our children, to hate and divide. I won't allow video, so you guys won't allow video recording, so I'm just going to read it. Structural racism, a built-in system that makes life easier for white people and more difficult for black people. It puts them at greater risk for poverty, unemployment, and disease. Black people are 6 times more likely than white people to go to prison. Black men are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white men. They are teaching that black people are oppressed by white people, that they don't have a chance. This is disgusting. It is wrong, and I don't give my child or the school permission to teach my child this. I am very angry. I've noticed us parents are not getting the respect we deserve from the board. Remember, you are elected by we the people, except for the superintendent, and some are up in 2022 and 2024. We want people on the board that are for the parents' choice. You can be replaced. I'm sure there are people here today who would gladly take that spot. Remember, I make the choices for my children. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mike Drehorst, 7512 Bernard Drive, Temperance, Michigan, in case for those who have hard of hearing. It's clear that, as a community, we've always come together in terms of tragedy and times of tragedy and need. We fundraise to raise medical expenses when students get cancer and to help a family whose father and husband dies way too young of something like COVID-19. We pay tribute to, and the community supports football families who lose a son to brain cancer or who gets killed in a tragic car accident. We support the district, obviously, when you have major renovation plans. Keeping the BPS family healthy should be the same thing, but it's not. Today, particularly last week, and again today, you've heard a lot of misinformation. It's as widespread as the pandemic is, and people are choosing their individual rights over the greater good. And people are dismissing the welfare of those who are most vulnerable, like the young mother who showed her immunocompromised daughter last week, and someone basically told her to pound sand. It's clear we're not united over what should be a no-brainer. If you look at scientists, on the committee, you have enough information. The board and Dr. Schultz are intelligent people. I don't need to give you more information. But so let me just talk about what we're all seeing across the country and locally, and how, God, I hope not, but it's going to happen here. Schools across the country that started with mask optional are seeing widespread quarantining and are shutting down and going virtual. Just this week, I think, Sandusky schools, after 2 days in operation, went 100% virtual because of a rise in cases. And I think the American Academy of Pediatrics, they reported that for the week ending August 26th, 1 out of every 5 new COVID-19 cases were by children. Like 22% was the actual number. And the trend is rising. Why? Because kids are getting together, schools are opening up, and we're going to see the same thing here. I hope I'm wrong, and I'll be first to admit it. But if we're really looking out for the greater good, we need to work together, and we need our school system to be part of that. I'm the last person who wants Big Brother involved in my life, but since we're not coming together, I think we need some people who are smarter than I am to come together and make those decisions. How much time I got left?
Oh, 2 minutes.
Oh, really? What I'm basically saying is no one likes to have their choice taken away, but there are much people smarter than I am. I trust our bus drivers. I've never driven a bus. I trust them to keep my kids safe. I don't study math and science and history and English at length, but I trust our teachers to give them a well-rounded well-rounded education and to inspire my children in the classroom. And with 4 kids in the system, they've done a great job. All that we're asking at hand, and I represent, while the turnout here does not represent the district. I and a couple of people here represent a group much larger than us. That all we want is to help keep our kids healthy and use science to back that masks are not detrimental to your health and to keep our health, keep us healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna speak again. This is support for my daughter. Yeah. I know, but you need it right.
Hello, I'm Isabella McKee at 9023 Oak Ridge Road. I come here today to tell you my opinion from a student perspective. I don't like masks. Having to wear it all day sucks. It makes it hard to breathe. I get bad headaches when it comes to gym. How would wearing a mask benefit me? I think it would be harder to breathe. I could pass out. Did you know wearing a mask is bad for you? You're breathing in bad bacteria which will make you sick. So masks don't help. I will not wear a mask. I will not be tested weekly. I won't get the vaccine. I have anxiety when I wear a mask. My glasses fog up and it sucks. When it's hot, my mask sticks to my face and my mask gets hot, so it makes it hard to breathe. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella.
I'm Tara Saunders in 820 Fairfield in Temperance, Michigan. I wasn't planning to speak, but I am a teacher myself in a different district. And I feel so strong for these teachers. Like we have teachers at this buildings right now setting up their classrooms and working very hard. And I know there's not one way or the other way with masks, but I just hope that when we start school, that we really support our teachers. My kids attend Douglas, and it just, they couldn't have open house. But I'm just saying, we have teachers that are leaving the profession. We have teachers that are, leaving other areas because they can go to other districts and make $4,000 or $5,000 more starting out. The starting pay is only around $36,000 as far as I know, last time I checked. In other areas in the county, they're starting at $40,000. I'm just saying, whether you support the mask or don't, I'm just asking that when you go to open house or you meet your teacher, whatever the decision is, that we just embrace our teachers, support them as much as you can, and just because this has been, it's been very hard on educators. And I teach first grade, and it is hard to see these little kids with a mask. But I'd rather be in a mask and be in person than online, because we know virtual is not where it's at. I'm just saying, my heart was just saying to support these teachers, when, whether you agree with the decision or not, and just support your children the best that you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
Hi, I'm Laura Egner, 2955 Dean Road, Lambertville. I didn't have time to prepare anything, so I'm just going to shoot from the hip. It's been quite a week for me. I've had a lot of overtime, a lot of no sleep, and a lot of that's due to supply chains breaking down, and it's caused me to do a lot of extra work at my job. So that's not really put me in the best frame of mind to have prepared a speech, since I haven't had much sleep. But I'm compelled to speak. My daughter has a medical condition, and wearing a mask for that many hours all day at school is going to be detrimental to her physical health. And for right now, it's the buses. Well, I could drive her to school, get around that, no problem. But when they mandate the mask in school, which will probably come, she's not going to be able to wear a mask all day. And it's like, okay, get a doctor's note. All right, called her PCP. No, we can't. We've been told we can't do any notes. Okay. So then I called her neurologist. Well, he's retired, and my daughter hasn't been there for a little bit because her issue resolved, but she still has the issue. So they recommended a couple other neurologists. I called both of them. Nope, the one won't. No, we can't do any notes. Okay. The one that, well, maybe we'll see. You have to get a referral. It's 4 to 6 weeks to get in. Okay. So then I do have a friend that's a doctor, and so I messaged him. He said, "Yep, no problem. I'll help you out. We'll get you a note for your daughter." Okay. One problem solved, but that doesn't help the other kids that can't get a note. They're going to be suffering with the masks on. Okay, next issue. My son, he's a junior at UT. They mandated the flu vaccine a few weeks ago. Okay, so he has to get a religious exemption if he wants to go to school, if he doesn't want the flu shot. And there's issues with the flu shot this year. He's not getting that. So yesterday, I find out, great, now they're going to mandate the COVID vaccine. He can't go to school without that. Okay, he's got to get a religious exemption. So my job, same thing. Flu shot, got to have that, or you're going to lose your job. I'm really needed in my job, and I do exemplary work, and I'm going to be fired because I can't get the flu shot? It's crazy. And then, the next thing will be the COVID. Same difference. I need a piece of paper for my son to go to school and for me to have my job. If I don't have a piece of paper signed by my pastor, my son can't go to school and I lose my job. Over a piece of paper. It's crazy. Just want to let you know that. This is where it's headed. You have no freedoms anymore. Wake up, people. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
I'm Maya Chance. I live at 8596 Tamarack in Temperance. I wasn't prepared to say anything tonight either, so I don't have anything to go off of, so I'm sorry if my speech is a little jumbled. I would just like to say that I'm trying to think of a good way to word this. Okay, so masks do not provide an airtight fit. It is not airtight, it's protecting against only droplets. oxygen and carbon dioxide do come out of the mask. I just wanted to say that. So it is protecting against only the droplets. So that is one thing. Another thing is if we want our children to go back to school and have a normal experience, we are going to have to make some sacrifices. We're going to have to work together. We're going to have to wear masks if we want to go back to normal. It's just what we have to do. I mean, it's just what we have to do. If you want to go and see your kids' school play, if you want them to have no masks in the classroom, if you want to be able to see their facial expressions and, you know, clear speech, we're going to have to wear them for a while. Again, sacrifices. So, yeah, if you want to go back to normal, if we want to be normal and in person, it's just what we're going to have to do. That's it.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ann Carmel. I live at 1433 Tennyson Drive in Temperance. For my comment, I would like to read some quotations from health experts on mask wearing and children. These are not government officials, media pundits, or YouTube influencers. These are health experts, many in hospital systems that most of you frequent for care for yourself and your children. And these are the individuals these recommendations are coming from, not the government. We can talk all day about personal freedoms and government control and continue to undermine the advice of tens of thousands of health professionals globally, but we also have the immense luck and privilege to know that the very experts we disparage will still do everything in their power to save our lives if we ever need them. I want to use the bulk of my time to share their words because they are the only ones we should ever have been listening to, and they are the only ones whose opinions and knowledge truly matter right now. Dr. Brian Kaminsky, board-certified emergency medicine physician and vice president of quality and patient safety at ProMedica Hospitals. And I quote, "When in public or large settings where you don't know the vaccination status of others, continue using methods known to prevent COVID-19, including having children above the age of 2 wear a mask, practice social distancing, and perform thorough hand washing." Dr. Tessa Johnson-Hooper, interim chair of pediatrics at Henry Ford Health System. Go to the school, talk to the principal, talk to the superintendent. Encourage them to have that mask and social distancing mandate, as you can use reputable sources like the American Academy of Pediatrics as a way to bolster. It's not your opinion, but it's fact, and it's a recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics. It's vitally important to speak up. Dr. Matthew Sims, Director of Infectious Diseases Research at Beaumont Health. The fact of the matter is, it just takes 1 or 2 cases to start ripping through schools, and those kids can take it home, spread it to their parents, spread it to their family, the grandparents who are older and maybe more vulnerable. It's just a danger that there is no reason to take the risk of making this optional. Dr. Rudolph Valentini, pediatric nephrologist at Children's Hospital of Michigan and group chief medical officer for the Detroit Medical Center. The state is at a record high for hospitalizations for pediatrics during the entire pandemic, and our hospital reflects that. Sarah Lynn Callow, Michigan's top epidemiologist and director of the Bureau of Epidemiology and Population Health. This information was published in multiple newspapers in the state of Michigan this past week, including the Monroe News. New data released Wednesday by the state health department showed that requiring masks could reduce the rate of coronavirus infection by 40 to 75% in K-12 schools. Projections suggest that as many as 90% of unvaccinated school children could be infected with the virus before the end of the fall semester if universal masks and testing protocols are not put in place. She highlighted a University of Michigan model that showed if one elementary school child was infected with the Delta variant and attends a class of 25 students and no masks are worn, it would take just 3 hours to infect half of the other students in that room. If most kids are wearing a mask, then it's closer to 24 hours. And if everyone is wearing a mask, then elementary schools have 120 hours or 5 days before the risk of transmission hits 50%. The Michigan Republican Party issued a statement this week denouncing mask mandates, and Senator Majority Leader Mike Sharkey called mask requirements, quote, the dumbest thing. Sharkey argued children are at extremely low risk from COVID-19, pointing to the data that shows a small number of children who have died nationally from the disease. However, more than 1,900 kids were hospitalized in Michigan over the weekend because of COVID-19, the most of any point during the pandemic. Dr. Prashant Majan, an emergency medicine physician and division chief of children's emergency medicine at the University of Michigan's Mott Children's Hospital. There is definitely an increase in the total number of patients that are coming to the ER, both on the pediatric side and the adult side. Dr. Adnan Mankara, Executive Vice President and Chief Clinical Officer for Henry Ford Health System. We are already seeing children who are testing positive. We are seeing that there are hospitals around the nation that are filling up with pediatric patients because of COVID. So COVID is not sparing children at the present time. Mankara and other health leaders are concerned that without higher vaccination rates and universal masking in schools, we might get into a situation where our children's hospitals will be overrun. In conclusion, the facts are clear, and no feelings, disinformation, politics, or minor discomforts are anywhere remotely close to a legitimate reason to gamble with our children's lives. Almost no masks were worn by BPS students, parents, teachers, or staff at any of the past few weeks' back-to-school events. Bedford has been given the ample opportunity to choose to do the right thing for its children, and it has failed. Please do the right thing now before children start getting sick and mandate masks in Bedford schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Are there any other additional comments? Okay, I will close the public commentary. We'll move on to announcements and comments. Sandy, is Sandy going to come around for public relations? Thanks, Sandy.
Did you want a PTO update?
Please.
Okay. The schools are kicking off and participating in open house events, and the PTOs are being involved. They're conducting spiritware sales and membership drives. They're supporting the staff members at welcome back or open houses with treats or meals or things to help ease that first day as they come back. Douglas Road is going to kick off an Otis Spunkmeyer cookie sale at the end of the month. Jackman Road is bringing back their birthday book club this year, and we'll be passing out free age-appropriate reading level books for students that have a birthday each month. So September birthdays will be getting their book this month. Meetings are scheduled for September. Jackman Roads is first up on the 14th at 6:45. Monroe Roads will be September 16th at 3:45. As far as the junior high school, they are doing a welcome back party and dance on September 23rd for the students. Wristbands for that will go on sale the week before, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the lunch hour. And that's all I have for the PTO report for this evening. As far as the PR end of it, the online newsletter is on our website, on the school web pages as well. I will be going through and working on updating and incorporating our new logo and changing things with our old administrative address and et cetera. Been busy with updating the school websites with a lot of the back-to-school activities. For example, Monroe Road and Jackman Road had their open houses yesterday. The high school opened their doors for just a sneak peek for students to walk their schedule. That was this evening until 7 o'clock. The teachers will be compiling virtual open houses, and Principal Weber will be sending out a Schoology announcement for families to check and students to check Schoology and find the document with all of the teachers' virtual open house links. Douglas Road and the junior high, because both of those buildings were affected by a lot of construction going on in their buildings, were not able to have students in before now, so they postponed their open houses. And but the principals are giving up some of their free time on Labor Day Monday and opening up the buildings for students to come in and at least figure out where their classrooms are. The teachers will not be in the buildings at that time, but they can at least figure out which way they have to go when they go in the door. Or I know I start here, but where do I go for my next class? Douglas Road will be doing theirs on Monday from 5:30 to 7. And the junior high, Mr. Hurley will have that open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Both of those schools, Douglas Road and the junior high, will have open houses in the evening, September 8th, the second day of school. Details of that are on their websites. And a shout out to the junior high. This year, they will be celebrating 50 years when they welcome students back next week. The other thing I would like the community to be aware of is, and you alluded to it earlier in the agenda when you were talking about the continuous improvement plan, replacing our strategic plan and changes to the standing committees that are associated with that. Part of that process is seeking input from not only the board members and the administration, but also from our community and our staff members. So it's a chance for them to offer input on areas that they feel that we should focus on to improve our educational experience for our students. The first community meeting will be next week, September 8th from 5 to 7, and a staff opportunity to get the overview of what the process is and see if you'd be interested in working through that process with the district. Would be on, for the staff, it would be on Thursday the 9th from 4 to 6 p.m. The community one is from 5 to 7, and those will be conducted as Zoom meetings. And if anyone would like to participate, they should reach out to Dr. French and let him know that you would be interested in participating, and he can share the Zoom link with you. Those would be the initial activities, and there would be a follow-up of several working sessions over the next several months as we compile the information to contribute to that plan. And the details of all of that are on our website as well as been posted on our Facebook page. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, I think we have Mr. Russolo in the audience for our secondary update, or Avalo, sorry. Sorry, Mickey.
That's all right. I'm still here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mickey Avalos. I'm one of the assistant principals at Bedford. Jumping into my 22nd year, I've loved this place as much as you guys have. I'm glad to be here. And I'm going to be a bit more brief than anticipated because Sandy took a lot of my storm here, so, so it'll be quick and nice. Starting off with Jackman Road Elementary, Mrs. Farnan wanted me to state that she did have a successful open house last night. The building looks amazing, and we're appreciative of all the hard work that has been done. They are enrolling a lot of new students, and they are ready for the start of the school year. Alex Chapman of Monroe Road Elementary, he had a successful open house Wednesday evening, and the building is ready to go, and the staff's excited as well. Kim Johnson of Douglas Road Elementary, they're still under construction, but they're ready to go. They'll be ready to go to Tuesday, they know that. So, and as was mentioned, a sneak peek Labor Day from 5 to 6:30. Their open house will be Wednesday. And they're looking forward to the new school year. Roderick Hurley of the junior high, again, as stated, still under construction, but he wanted me to make sure that they have the very best gymnasium in the county by far. It's an amazing gymnasium that was just built. They're all excited about that. And then from the high school, Kevin Weber, the principal, wanted to make sure that you understand that we have a new program that we're going to be using. It's called FEV, F-E-V tutoring. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week tutoring opportunity for our students in math and science specifically. So that would be very good. That they'll actually have live individuals on a computer. They'll have to set it up so they can have the appointment. But students that are running into trouble, they can set that up, and they'll have a live tutor helping them out. So that's a great thing for us. And as stated, we did do Alice training yesterday. That went very well. And we have several new teachers and student teachers coming this year. They all appear to be excited, and our teachers are always glad to be back. Because it is a great district to work in, and we're all very happy to be here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Avalos. Okay, who do I want to mess up next? Let's see. Howard, we'll start with the cabinet at the table.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to thank everybody for attending tonight. Also thank the custodial staff and all the other individuals that are in various places for getting the district ready. And we will be ready on Tuesday. And I want to also report out that our teaching assignments are covered. And, okay, just knocking. Just to make sure something doesn't happen over the weekend. And we are fully staffed with the teaching, in our teaching ranks. We have a couple of minor vacancies in the parapro ranks. And we've cobbled together plans to make sure that the students receive the proper attention and support that they need. But when I met with the superintendent earlier today, I told him I'd report out, and I didn't get a chance to follow through with them on it. So, but it's good news. So, matter of fact, 2 or 3 hires took place today. So I couldn't even get them on the agenda in time. So it's good news all around, and looking forward to a successful start to the school year, and hopefully 30 days from now we have a routine that is palatable for everybody to handle. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Good news, appreciate it. Dr. French?
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for attending tonight, as well as the staff members that we work with every day who have persevered through some challenges, and they have done a great job getting everything ready. That led to this week where we had 4 really successful days of professional learning. We welcomed our new teachers on Monday for what we call New Teacher Induction Day. So 12 of them were able to join us, and it was a great, enthusiastic group of new teachers, all excited to be here. Many of them are Bedford graduates. I think just under half of them, or about half of them. So that speaks well of our schools and teachers wanting to return and get back here. And then three great professional learning days with all the teachers back, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. They were able to refresh professional learning communities. I did a brief refresher training on getting reacclimated and setting some reasonable goals for the year for their learning teams. I mentioned the ALICE training earlier, and then our elementary teachers welcomed back Shannon McCartney, who is a premier staff development person in elementary mathematics. We're going to have an ongoing relationship with Shannon and her team, both in professional learning sessions and in some instructional coaching of our teachers. So we're really making an ongoing commitment. That's one of the main things I want to say is the commitment to ongoing job-embedded professional learning for our teachers. That's important. It's not just once that you sit in something and never revisit it. We want to develop those consistent, ongoing experiences, which is the best practice. And I know some of our secondary teachers experienced a co-teaching training as well this week. So lots of excitement. I shared that tidbit with Mrs. Earl. I'm starting my 30th year in education this week, so really happy to be here and get the new year started. It's exciting.
Good. Thank you, Dr. French. Congratulations on 30 years. Impressive. Julie?
Thank you. I just want to say that we had our audit last week, and that went really well. And I credit Chrissy, Donna, and Candy in the business office for all the hard work they put in from July 1st until the first day of audit, with all the preparations that they do and all the great responsive work that they give to the auditors. They're very timely, very accurate, and they just do a great job, and we couldn't do that without them. I want to welcome back all the staff who didn't work all summer and are coming back and getting ready for school, and I want to welcome all of our students back on Tuesday. Have a great year.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. And Dr. Schultz?
I want to echo Julie's sentiments regarding our staff members returning, as well as thanking those that did work all summer. It's been a real sprint. When you talk about doing $15 million in bond work in just about 10 weeks, and of course teachers returned to half-cleaned rooms and frantic contractors finishing just about anything you can imagine, including our technology team having to re-put these rooms back together for our students and staff members. It really is yeoman's work. So thank you to our staff and students for being flexible, which was last year's superintendent theme, flexibility and fluidity. This year, as I wrote our staff as a welcome, we're going to work on perseverance this year. While many districts across the state and the nation took time away during the closures last year and the previous year, Bedford hasn't. We have pushed forward with new initiatives. We have joined new partnerships, including a new one I'll be announcing pretty quickly with the University of Toledo here neighboring us. We are working vigilantly to ensure that our students and our families have the best possible opportunities, not just in the classrooms and with student achievement on standardized assessments, but also in the field of career tech and also in citizenship. We have continued to improve ourselves day after day, week after week, and year after year. And I'm proud of what we've accomplished here in this district. And we're going to continue that work until we have something that every student enjoys and every family is proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schultz. We'll move on to the board members. Dee?
I'd like to thank all of you for coming this evening. I personally believe in freedom of choice. I don't have the right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your child. We did mask last year. And guess what? We went virtual. And I have to thank Dr. French and all the staff for picking up that. And now they're even better. If we have to go virtual, we have to go virtual. Everybody has the right to choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Gina?
I just want to thank the principals and staff that are coming in on Labor Day to give the students an opportunity to see the buildings when they otherwise might not have had the chance to. I think that's going to ease a lot of fears moving into the school year, and having an opportunity, even for an older child moving in to the junior high, to see where my class is, what do I do, where do I go. So really appreciate that. I want to congratulate our retiree, and I'm excited for the baseball and softball facilities update. I think that is going to look really great. I'm so excited to see it in person, and just looking forward to a great school year.
Thank you, Gina. Megan?
I just want to say that I'm very pleased that Bedford continues to still have a start after Labor Day, unlike so many Michigan schools who have made the move to start before. And I, as a parent, enjoy that.
Thanks, Megan. Amy?
I just want to welcome everybody back, the teachers, the students especially. I hope that they just have a tremendous week next week and a wonderful year. Dr. Schultz, thank you to you, Dr. French, the administration, the tech teams, the secretarial staff. I just know, actually I don't know, but I imagine the work that everyone's been doing, scrambling to get bond work finished and everything to open the doors on Tuesday and welcome everybody back. I'm sure everyone's a little bit exhausted going into Tuesday, so I hope they have a great weekend and we get off to a fantastic start next week.
Thank you, Amy. And I'll close by saying thank you, and I appreciate the comments from everyone and seeing faces and seats out here in front of us. And our board meetings have traditionally not been well attended, and when they are attended, it's because there's a purpose that parents in the community feel compelled to be here. So I do appreciate every single person who gets up to speak, and even if you didn't speak, I see you, and I appreciate every one of you being here. I too got my start on the board. It's been 10 years ago. July. It was 10 years ago in July because I felt compelled as a parent in this district. It was around school closing, actually this building. I had 3 kids in this building and wanted to better understand the motivation behind the district. And so whatever your means or cause that brings you here tonight, or if you're thinking about a run for a school board position, typically they're not highly contested. There's not a bunch of people breaking down the door for this job. Or this volunteer position. So if it brings you here today, I hope that you remember that, and if you feel compelled for the reasons to run for a position, I'm always open to talk to anyone who wants to talk about the commitment and what you need to do to be in this position, as well as I'm sure any of the other board members sitting up here. So please feel free to reach out to me should you have any interest there. I can't say enough about staff from top to bottom. I hope everyone took notice of everyone from the finance office to the human resources to instruction and to Carl overseeing everything facilities. I know Tom didn't talk tonight, but there is so much work being done, and Carl's right. It is a sprint to the finish line. They're waxing floors and mopping, and if I know Tom, he's probably going to be dusting off some things over the course of the weekend as well. So be kind to your teachers and your staff, your principals, your community members, because it's a rough time for everybody. And so I appreciate the kindness and grace that people have showed me in this role and in my personal role. I would implore you to be the same from top to bottom. So with that being said, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there support?
Support.
Thanks, Gina. Thanks, Dee. It's non-debatable. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate everyone.